What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Cartoon Conspiracy with your host, as always, Kamek Time. And today we have a very interesting theory about a kind of an older cartoon, but still one of the all-time classics. Of course, I'm talking about Popeye the Sailor Man. And today we're going to be talking about what is in his pipe, what makes his spinach so special. And you may have guessed it already. We're talking about, yes, marijuana. So, is Popeye a pothead? Well, I kind of think so, and I'm going to throw some evidence at you guys that might sway your opinion just a little bit. So let's go ahead and jump right into this theory, starting out with a little bit of background on the Popeye series. Popeye was originally introduced in 1929 by his original cartoonist, Elzie Seeger. He first played a small role in a cartoon, but then he took over the cartoon series and became a very popular character, and originally there was no explanation for Popeye's amazing strength, but within a few years, Popeye's reliance on spinach was enhanced into the comic strip and became a huge ongoing plot line for the series. Popeye would always, take the spinach through his pipe. He would always become super strong, and he would always defeat his foe, save olive oil, and save the day, all because of spinach. And everyone, thought, this is a good thing. Spinach is good for children. It gives vitamin C, all these vitamins are very good for children, and it's promoting a good thing. Well, this might be a little bit different than that. Starting out with some little bit of evidence here, back in 1938, there was a very popular song by Julia Lee called the Spinach Song, and it is a clear reference to marijuana and pot smoking. They use lyrics like sweet marijuana, flying high, things like along that. Very, very clear reference to marijuana. So it's kind of clear that back in the day, they used to call marijuana, they used to go by, instead of calling it pot or weed, they kind of called it spinach back then. Another thing to point out is back in the day, anti-marijuana propaganda claimed that marijuana use induced super strength and made people super mad. Did you see here? It's called reefer madness. They didn't really know too much about it back then. They just knew that it made people kind of different. They didn't know that it made you, laid back, and that people were making wild claims that it made people, rage and, beat people up and made them mad and all this kind of weird stuff. But that's what it was back then. So it flows along the lines with Popeye, getting strength by smoking it. Another thing to take note of is Popeye was also known as, the Sailor Man. And Popeye was exactly the kind of person that would travel to distant lands, be with exotic people, see exotic herbs, I guess you could say. So by traveling the world as a Sailor Man, he would be introduced to marijuana in, many, many ways. Especially, you see he's on tropical islands. He might have went to Jamaica, places that are real big on pot. Now, there was a few more explicit drug references in the original comic strip. In 1934, for example, there was this comic strip where they found this root in a gold mine. They had all these workers were discovered to be, being violent and being nasty and stealing things. And they found the root of it was actually this root that these workers were eating the berries from this tree or from this bush. And they found that this root was in this thing. And they ended up dumping what they called like happy amine or something like that on this root, and then if you read the comic strip, I know it's kind of fuzzy, but if you actually read it, it says something along the lines of it makes them happy because they poured this drug into the root, and it would make all the workers happy by taking those berries. It's a pretty straightforward drug reference, if you ask me. Pretty funny stuff, actually, from 1934. It's actually kind of risque back then. Sadly, not too much longer after that, the original creator, Seeger, died. The original cartoonist died, but his cartoon was taken over and became more popular in the 1960s because of his cartoons and comic strips. And there was a lot more pop culture after that because, the whole 1960s was the flower child age, lots of marijuana going around, free love kind of thing. And after that, Popeye explicitly was shown sucking his power-giving spinach through his pipe instead of eating it. He's more smoking out of his pipe now instead of, like I said, grabbing out of the can and just eating it. Now he smokes it, which is more along the lines of, like you guessed it, marijuana. And there was all kinds of other drug references in the 1960s cartoons. There was one episode where Popeye tells his nephews the story of his ancestor Hercules, and he goes back and he looks just like Popeye, except he's sniffing garlic to gain his superpowers. By the end of the cartoon, however, Hercules discovered that spinach is better than sniffing garlic, and switches over. And it could be a metaphor for people sniffing cocaine to get superhuman strength and whatever. But then realizing that cannabis is a little bit better for you and switching to that. There was also another episode where Popeye is shown carefully tending to his crops of spinach plants, and he's taking care of them. He's taking cuttings and dipping the roots in gel and planting them in his outdoor garden. He's very protective of them. He takes very good care of them. And, pot growers everywhere recognize the unique way that Popeye cares for his crop. That's exactly how pot growers are about their cannabis plants. They're very attentive to them. They take care of them. And it was kind of a little social satire on that. But by far the most explicit reference to pot or weed, this is pretty much coming straight out and saying it, is in this 1980s comic strip illustrated by Bobby London. The comic is shown Popeye and Wimpy picking up a, quote, pure Bavarian spinach. And if you read the context of this, this is a complete 100% pot, weed, drug reference. There's no mistaking this. This is the smoking gun, I guess you could call it, as part of evidence as to what exactly Popeye's been smoking all these years that's given me these powers. And it is, in fact, marijuana. So, pot smokers rejoice everywhere. Everyone pro-weed can rejoice that Popeye is a giant proponent of smoking weed. But that's pretty much all I have for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something in this video. As always, guys, I really appreciate it if you guys could go ahead and drop a like. It'd be very, very much appreciated. As always, if we hit 500 likes on this video, I'll go ahead and drop out next week's video a day early for you guys. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel to get all of these cartoon theories along with my other theories that I do in your sub box weekly. I have a lot of cool stuff going on, a lot of cool stuff coming up for you guys, so make sure you guys, like I said, hit that like and subscribe button. And as always, guys, have a great day. Until next time, guys, game the fuck on. I will see you then, guys. Peace out.